The 34th Annual Crop Production Show at Prairieland Park is another success. I've invited the Agriculture Manager, Laurie Cates, to speak with us a little bit about some of the history of the event that's happening here and what happened this past week. Laurie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here. It's wonderful.
Tell us a little bit about who Laurie Cates is and how she came to be in this important role.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I absolutely love being here at Prairieland Park and working in the agriculture department. I'm from a farm background. I came from the Yorkton area, grew up on a dairy farm, had some beef cattle, so it is right up my alley. I've been here 15 years, and working in agriculture here at Prairieland is extremely rewarding because of all the different events we do, not only crop production, but this is the kickoff event for the year and our key event for agriculture.
So for 34 years, you've been here for nearly half of them. Have there been any changes that you've seen that are significant?
Yeah, there's so many changes probably. First and foremost, when we started the show, we were in the old Jubilee building. Some of you might remember that. A significant amount of leaks and snow coming in the doors, and it was an old building, but it's what we had to work with. And when we finally did some renovations and got into these beautiful trade show facilities, of course the show grew with leaps and bounds. And right now we're 226,000 square feet of trade and conventions show center, and we're full. We're maxed right out. We have no more room for any more equipment.
How many of the population that's here that you're seeing, are there people coming from other provinces, or is it primarily Saskatchewan? What's the focus here?
As far as the exhibitors go, we have 340 exhibitors this year. 18 of those are from the United States.
Wow.
And that's the highest amount we've ever had. So obviously we've made a mark in the States, and those exhibitors want to be here, those guys that are trying to sell their equipment or their products to Saskatchewan farmers. Patrons are mostly from Saskatchewan. We do have some busloads that come from Alberta, close to the border, but pretty much they're mostly from all over Saskatchewan.
Are you seeing any trends that are developing? I mean, we look around the trade show area, trying to get your head around the size and the value of some of the equipment. What are you hearing from some of the patrons that are coming here in terms of getting the face-to-face meetings with some of the producers of the short line manufacturing and the bigger names? What are they telling you?
Yeah, for sure. The exhibitors tell us that the patrons that are coming to the show are here to do business. They are here for a purpose. This is the show that kicks off the growing season, and they want this face-to-face time, whether it's to make that decision for next year or talk about the latest technology, and maybe that piece of equipment might be on the wish list for another year. Depends on the price of grain, but certainly our patrons are farmers. That's who comes here.
I think we've seen some big strides in the diversity of the economy across Saskatchewan. So we'll have mining and ag, biotech, certain leaders. Farming is still a big component. So you've grown up in the farm sector. I still play with that a bit. And you mentioned that we're only maybe 90 to 100 days out before we start scratching around with some of this equipment. Is there any component that you're seeing that's new over the past 15 years that you've been here that you haven't seen before?
Yeah, I think the leaps and bounds in technology. Back in our day, Randy, you still had to drive a tractor, right? Now, we almost don't need a person to drive that equipment. The precision agriculture is it's beyond me. We had a precision agriculture seminar yesterday and had sort of the leading edge guy here from Purdue University. But because everything is getting more technical, guys want to know exactly where that seed is being placed and exactly where that that micronutrient is going in, and how it's going to affect their bottom line. So everything is so much more technical than it used to be. The whole drone technology, that's another thing that really last year was huge here. We had a number of companies with drone technology and a number of speakers. So I think as much as the machinery is getting bigger, and we see that, it's mostly the technology that is involved with just running the equipment.
I think that's important to note. I mean, some of our grandparents probably pulled a 6-foot one-way around the field, and I'm sure there's many people watching that will relate to that. But to see the advancements being made, it's all with an eye on that bottom line. There's also a component of the show where there's educational training that goes on. Can you shed some light on some of the courses that are offered or classes?
Yeah, we have an information theater that we do a couple sessions every day, and I work very closely with a volunteer committee that's made up of industry experts. And to run a show like this, you need a committee of experts, because again, it's changing so rapidly, and there's so many different facets of what happens in crop production. So our volunteer committee comes up with what we think is going to be the important topics for the upcoming growing season. And then we get the leaders in that industry to speak about that subject. And this year we hit the nail on the head with, again, precision technology. We had some people here from the Watershed Management Agency. We've had some issues with flooding, and it goes on and on. But the volunteer committee is imperative in running this show, and we thank them, and it's another reason why the show is so successful.
How long would it take you to set this up? I mean, 226,000 square feet, the volunteer committee, plus the number of staff you have. Yeah, we, physically we start moving in a week in advance. And then it's an effort of, our operations staff that are, pulling this equipment in, getting it positioned, trying to get it all, sort of fit into the building. It's a bit like a puzzle. And then just keeping up with the day-to-day happenings of the show when there's 20,000 plus people here on the park, and we sort of jokingly say every one of those farmers that comes here drives his own pickup, so the parking lot's pretty full. But it's a huge effort, and our committee meets 5 or 6 times a year, talking about the planning, and operations staff, food and beverage staff, my staff of 4. It's a big event, but it's very well worthwhile. So when we take this forward, is there more of a demand for more space for this show? Is there potential for it to grow?
Oh, absolutely. We could. I'm really hoping that we'll have another building in the very near future. I have a long length of wait list of people that would like to get into the show, as well as a number of our exhibitors that have new products and new services, and we just don't have any space for them. So we're maxed. We can't grow this show anymore. Another thing that is going to happen next year, the event's called CropSphere, which currently happens at TCU Place. They're going to move them down here next year. So we're going to have to do some shuffling of some of the events that we have here, and CropSphere is going to modify their schedule slightly, but we've been working with them for a couple months now. We just feel that it's extremely important that those producers can be in one spot, and so for next year we're going to shuffle things around and make it work, but we're really working hard and in some strategic planning right now so that we can have another building to accommodate everyone that wants to be here.
So you're saying right now that planning for 2017 is already underway?
Planning for 2017 is well underway. Well underway, yeah.
And is there any on your wish list in terms of size? I mean, that's just one event, but Prairieland's involved with a number of events. Any idea how much more capacity you have to grow?
Well, for crop production show specifically, another building the size of what we're in right now, D&E, and we can utilize that building many times throughout the year. A lot of the events that we host now are maxed, and we're trying to bring some new events to the city, working with tourism, working with the downtown businesses and whatnot, and there are some events that we just don't have facilities big enough for, so that's our end goal.
I think we're on our way, and I want to take the opportunity to thank you for all your hard work and your committee.
Thank you.
Okay. Prairieland Park continuing its good work in the ag community since the 1880s. We'll be right back.